In Acts 15, you read, "And certain men came down from Judea and taught the brethren, unless you are circumcised according to the custom of Moses, you cannot be saved." Now, we've touched on this, just friends. I know those of you who just went through 13 weeks of Galatians with me, you're thinking, didn't we just talk about this? Yes, we did. And so I know some of this is reviewing some of what we covered when we went through Galatians, some of the very same verses. But it was a problem also in Romans we need to understand. So there was a dispute in the early church, and it goes all the way into Acts 15. And they're saying, unless you keep these ceremonial laws, things like circumcision, you cannot be saved. Well, that's heavy stuff. I mean, you and I might argue about the 7 trumpets, 144,000. Last week I taught a class on Daniel 11. A lot of disputes about some of the details in Daniel 11. You and I might disagree, but I'm never going to tell you, unless you agree with me on Daniel 11, you cannot be saved. There are some people out there, now not too many, but there are a few people out there that are saying that the lost truth the church needs to rediscover before Jesus comes back is the feast days. And unless you keep them, you cannot be saved. There are some people out there that are saying the Trinity is not biblical. And unless you understand the new truth about the Holy Spirit and that Jesus was created, you cannot be saved. They're making it a salvation doctrine. Well, that gets pretty serious. You have to deal with it when people start saying you cannot be saved unless you agree with me. Right? I mean, you and I might disagree on a lot of minor points, but it's pretty heavy when they said you can't be saved. Well, that became a big issue. Why did they say that? Go to Genesis 17:10. "This is my covenant," God told Abraham, "which you shall keep between you and me and your descendants after you. Every male child among you shall be circumcised." And he later says this is an eternal covenant. And you can think, wow. Why did he say it was eternal? Because it is, in the sense that unless you are born again and you experience the new birth, which is circumcision of the heart. Do you know, even Moses said that circumcision was a symbol of the heart way back in his day. That's repeated several times in the New Testament. The Passover is called an eternal covenant. Why would he say that if you don't need to always keep the Passover? Can we still sacrifice lambs and bring them to the temple? But whenever you celebrate the Lord's Supper, isn't that a Passover? When Jesus had the first Lord's Supper, didn't he say, "With longing I've longed to eat this Passover with you"? No, we don't call it a Passover. He's changed it. Jesus made a very clear change. He said, as long as you drink this cup and eat this bread, you do show my death until it comes. And so there's spiritual value in the other feasts, but we don't need to keep those dates. It says as often as you do it. He didn't say once a year, just whenever you do it. And so God made it pretty clear that the reality was here and what the spiritual significance was.